It's around 1 o'clock. I just finished writing the entire TurboLinks documentation. I learned a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a little bit of time before a meeting at 2:30 and I'm not really sure what to do. There's some new areas I need to look into, a new API I need to understand, how browsers work to effectively use TurboLinks and build really good Rails applications. So I'm kind of beginning to dig into that. I'm not sure how to attack it. And then of course after that I need to dig into the source and then eventually dig into the TurboLinks iOS source and start learning Swift so I can build Rider. I'm super low energy at the moment and I don't know what to talk about today, so I'm gonna have to choose something and then go. Actually, I'm gonna take a shower because I haven't done that yet today and just got in a little workout, so usually that generates some ideas. I bet I also need to drink more water. That always happens. I don't drink enough water. I get dehydrated. I don't realize it. My energy level. Done with my shower. Just focused. Can't tell. No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, okay, good. Done with my shower. No big ideas. So I suppose today I could just talk about something kind of rudimentary, but it's something that I take for granted, so maybe other people find it very interesting. And that is, in an anonymized way, I set up a meeting on a given project to go through and determine the schedule, determine how the meeting's going to be set up, how communication's going to happen, just make a bunch of tiny decisions up front that'll save us time later. So if we spend the 30 minutes on the meeting, we will save far more than 30 minutes throughout the duration of the project. And one of those items is setting a central schedule for the project, so milestones and stuff. Now the thing is, estimates in software aren't that accurate, but neither are the calculations over whether or not something is valuable to do. And how as a business you determine whether or not something is good to do is the ROI. And so that is the value you generate as a result of doing something minus the cost of doing it. And then if you want to normalize it, I guess you divide by the cost. Yeah. But, or I don't remember, maybe it's a percentage. Anyway, to determine ROI, you need to know both the value and the cost. And so the problem is people will identify that there's something that they want to do in software, but then they'll go and they'll throw these completely arbitrary deadlines onto it, like I want it done this month. And it's like, why do you want it done this month? Sometimes there are legitimate business deadlines, and so these are important. That means that you need to have some core stuff done by this time, and if something is going to get in the way of getting that done, then you cut it out. You be merciless on cutting things out of scope, so you know that you're going to ship by that day. Otherwise, you end up in this situation where there's no differentiation between what is essential and what is arbitrary, and when that happens, along with tight deadlines, projects get really rushed, the software doesn't generate anywhere near as much value as it could, and basically clients who pigeonhole developers into this, and I say that, but on the other hand, developers who let clients pigeonhole them into this is kind of this little balance. This destroys a whole lot of value. It leaves a whole lot of it on the table that both sides could have gotten. So I think it's kind of dumb, but I completely understand why, like from the perspective of a business owner, why you need these things. So the question then kind of shifts to me. I set up a meeting to determine a schedule for a project and like set up all the administrative stuff and all that. And then the client sent me an email saying, hey, could you give us a schedule? And it's kind of like, that's why we're having this meeting. So that might seem like a weird thing if you just take it at face value, but the right question to ask is, what need is not being fulfilled on their end? Like, what am I doing that prompted them to do this? So I could think of a couple of reasons. One, they might have some they might have a strong need for certainty. Two, they might want to know how much something is going to cost and when it's going to be done by, stuff like that, so they could make business decisions in a way, even though they're still missing their half, where it's like, what's the value that this is going to provide? What are the trade-offs that are present for that person? And then why did they choose this one? And then what's the best way to accomplish it now that they've chosen it? And so, so I'm kind of conflating how I might run a business with other people, which is fine, but it's not useful right now. So discard that. It could also be there are some real business deadlines that I'm not aware of yet that they need to have happen. And so maybe around funding, maybe around partnerships that they have, maybe around some other completely different agreement. Maybe they're going to go on vacation. Who knows? So there are a bunch of important factors that could affect all why this one person decides, hey, I'm going, or I set up this meeting where it's like, yo guys, let's figure out the schedule for this. And then before the meeting they go, hey, could you send us a schedule? Like, why? What? There is a deeper need that is not being met. The right thing isn't to wonder like, what are they talking about? To get confused, dismissive, anything like that. It's to, what need isn't being addressed? Then how can I do that? So that's kind of what I'm stumped on right now, and I'm going to be done thinking about it, even though I can't really get it off my mind, simply because I don't have enough information. And the other thing here is never, ever, 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 ever assume malice on part of somebody else, or even to that degree incompetence. Don't assume incompetence until you've seen it. Oftentimes people are just freaking busy. They're just really busy. So what is simply inattention, if you choose to always interpret things as, oh, they meant that was personal, or like, oh, they suck at what they do. If you choose to do those things, then you're saying that about the people that you work with. The people, and it might be true. If it is true, then you have to treat it as such. But until it is proven true, don't assume it, because then all you're doing is you're making your own life worse. So why do that? And that's the end of my thinking right now. I think I'm going to, the very next thing is I need to go understand a thing called a mutation observer in web browsers, and also making custom elements, because Rails is made really fast by another JavaScript library named Turbolinks. I just went through Turbolinks, and now I understand that in order to use Turbolinks really well, I need to be able to use these other things too. Now the problem is Turbolinks is beautifully written. These other things are not. They're kind of hard to understand, so I'm just gonna have to stare at them for a little while. Here's another thing. Because I use Turbolinks a lot, I understand, I have a shape of it in my mind. So what I'm doing is I'm refining that shape, clarifying it, all that kind of stuff. And one of the other things is that the actual writing of this README is really good. It's really good for a narrative format. It might be the best documentation reading that I've ever read, just like as a README. Like this is really good. And so the logical sequencing of how they do stuff, it all fits really well together. It's really well done. Now the thing is, the mutation observer stuff, this is all JavaScript stuff. This is all kind of brand new to me. This is getting down into like, how do browsers actually work? And so, one, this is new territory. Two, this API isn't entirely clear. I don't know enough yet to know whether it's good or bad. If it's bad, then why don't I write a new one? And then, so where previously my approach would have been, just write it out, write it all out, because I already have the shape of it in my mind. With this new thing, I'm actually gonna have to take this document, a bunch of ordered text, and turn it into some pictures, turn it into some understanding, build the shape of it in my head. Because until I do that, I won't understand it. I won't even know how to begin experimenting with it. So that's what I'm going to do next. Done with my meeting. Did a lot of thinking. The meeting was maybe 40-50 minutes, but it took me like several hours to plan it, and then some time after the fact too. It was intense. Anyway, Pico de Gallo time. I'm not really sure how to film this. Also, I know it's supposed to have a lot more tomatoes, but I don't like tomatoes. So this is gonna be onion heavy. Pico de Gallo's done. I forgot to get some footage. I'm too lazy to pull everything back out. I have an opinion on it though. I like Pico de Gallo when It's not tomato heavy because I don't like tomatoes that much. And also one of the problems with it is that there should be a lime juice on it. So when it first hits your mouth, you get a really bright taste. You get the sour from the acid. Then it should go through the other acids. I like the crunch of the onion. There should immediately, like, a couple flavors hit your tongue, and then you should taste the fat of the avocado and stuff. I'm not sure if this is actually how you do pico de gallo. This is how I like it. But then at the end of all that, there should be some heat in there. So I put 3 large serrano peppers in that, like really fine grain. And serrano peppers are hotter than jalapeno peppers. So when you take a bite, you get this whole little trip at the end of this kick of heat. I really like that. Now the only issue with it is, I don't know if it's just me or whatever, but keeping lime juice evenly coated across all of it, I notice it tends to drop off. I think it's because of the tomatoes, because tomatoes are so juicy, there's just too much liquid, so it all kind of drops off, which means that lime juice tends to not stay evenly coated throughout the entire thing, so when you first bite, you don't get that like really good taste. So pico de gallo is one of those things that I think is absolutely best fresh, but then you can make it okay as long as you adequately drain it, and then before you serve it, that's when you put the you put a little bit of lime on early to let it get in there, but then right before you serve it is when you put lime on again. That way you get that bright, kind of like that bright taste when you first taste it. And so, of course, everything's a work in progress, but that's how I like pico de gallo. That's how I like mine. So that's why I make it the way that I do. So the rest of tonight, I'm gonna hit up one friend's thing, gonna hit up another friend's thing. They're both kind of birthday things. Both friends are named David. I didn't realize both things would be tonight. And I think I'm gonna have to end the vlog here, because I don't trust myself to carry the camera around. Oh, forgot about